when someone cannot go to his home. It is very sad. It was a Faizabad stop in Rawalpindi. When I got off the metro bus, there was a 15-year-old boy among the people who got off with me. I didn't think much of it at the time. When I was coming down the stairs, he was also coming a few steps behind me. There is also a risk of pickpockets at these bus stations, so you should generally keep an eye on those behind you. When he followed me down the stairs with me, I turned once and examined him carefully. The old clothes, the pale color, the usual neon pattern, and a lot of problems on the face. It seemed that the existence bent by the burden of these problems was being carried along by force. I quietly went down the stairs and went my way. After going a little further, the same thought came to him. He turned back and saw that he was still standing there by the stairs. He was turning his neck and looking around as if he didn't understand where to go. Now I turned around and went to him and asked, "Is there a problem or problem?" He glanced at me, but instead of saying anything, he remained silent. I repeated my question again. "No fare to go home." I understood that it belongs to the group who are begging people in such busy bases in the name of fare to go home in the modern way. Someone's bike has run out of petrol. Someone's pocket has been cut, and someone is unable to collect the fare to go home due to lack of work. All these are actually their dramas, and all this is just a new style of begging. I also kept silent and moved on from there. A friend had come to Faizabad base. I had come to meet him, so I went to the desired place and started looking for him. When my friend came, he had to go somewhere after an hour, so we sat in the waiting room and talked for a while, then got up and went out to eat. When they started looking at a hotel near the waiting room, they did not know why they thought that they should go and eat in the hotels on the other side of the road. They will get good food there, although I had never eaten there before. The idea was so strong that I took my friend and proceeded to walk on the other side of the road. When I reached the place where I had to cross the road, I saw the same boy again, standing in the same perplexed state. It was about 10 o'clock in the night. I stopped my friend there and watched him for a few moments. He didn't ask for money from anyone. He just stood silently with his head bowed. I knew him again and asked if the rent has not been received yet. He looked at me and his eyes watered. He started saying, "I ran away from home and came here this morning." The speed man accelerated the car, but then maybe someone told him that someone was making noises. So he stopped the car on one side. The boy reached the car out of breath and stood holding its door. Maybe he was afraid that if he left the door, the car driver would run away. When I reached, I asked the driver if any seat is empty. He said, "There is only one seat left." I made the boy sit in the car, paid the fare to the driver, and forced some extra money to the boy to get something to eat if he stopped somewhere on the way. The boy did not say anything in response, just closed his eyes and raised both hands to pray, and after 2 moments turned his face as if thanking God. Perhaps he believed that his God would help him. Perhaps he knew that thanks are due not to me, the God who sent the means. Then the driver moved the car forward. So he started looking at me with wet eyes, and as long as the car was in sight, he turned around and kept looking at me with wet eyes. God knows whether it was his prayer or his mother's prayer that the last seat of the last car was left for him. I had to cross the road to eat and sat in the same metro bus in which he was riding so that I could see his existence, feel his anxiety. Whether it was someone's prayer or God's own system, that he had arranged resources for this boy so that he would not get lost in the human jungle of the big city, but go home safely, so that he does not get a big punishment for his small mistake.